Alright, so today what I wanted to chat about was education. And not so much like the education system or anything like that, just education in general. The reason that I've been thinking about this and could come up with a whole subject, talking point, whatever for it, is because I have a part-time gig where I work at a college. I'm a tutor there. I kind of would rather have my own class. That was always the goal. Since 2015, that was always the goal. Haven't quite got there yet, but a tutor's at least a foot in the door. And relatively speaking, the pay is a lot better than you'd think. I make pretty good money just being a tutor for a couple days a week, a couple hours each day. But anyways, that's besides the point. What I wanted to say was, obviously being a tutor, there's a lot of students that come in and I have to tutor and stuff. And some of them just seem like such an absolute lost cause. And I'm like, first off, how did you even get accepted to college? Second off, why did you choose to go to college? Like, let's wow, why am I stuttering with let's? Let's just get into the examples. So I've been at the school now for, I think this is my 5th semester. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is my 5th semester, maybe my 6th. I don't know, somewhere around there. I'm relatively novice, you know? But, so on my first semester, I don't know what I'm saying. Like I always say, I make these while I'm driving, so, you know, I kind of get distracted by things. Oh, I'm passing somebody or somebody's passing me or whatever. Anyways, so my first semester, I had 2 students that had the same math class. Now, I don't know if they actually had the same class per se, but they had the same level of math. And it was the most basic math in the world, okay? It was stuff like, you know, 5 plus x equals 12. What's x? 7. Duh, that's simple. You can solve that in tons of different ways. But anyways, these students had no idea what to do. They had no idea how to go about figuring out what x was. And it was just like, how are you in college if you can't do some math that's this easy? This is not complicated math in the slightest bit. Geez, most 3rd graders can do this. You're college and can't do it? You're coming to me looking for help with something this easy? Like, when I had those students, I felt like I was the most ineffective tutor in the world because it was just so obvious. I was like, how do I tutor you to figure this out? So I was basically just like giving them the answers because I was like, how do you not know this? You know what I mean? It's like if somebody had a hard time breathing and you're like, how do you not know how to breathe? It just happens. You just kind of don't pay attention to it. Your body just naturally aspirates. Like, what? I got to teach you how to breathe? Yeah, so anyways, all I kept thinking with these students was, how in the world are you in college? What are you going to do? Like, what is your degree program right now? What are you going to do that's semi-professional? You know, you're going to have a college degree for this job. What do you think you're going to do if you can't even solve basic math like this? I don't even know what the point of them going to school was if they're that, like, educationally challenged. You know what I mean? Like, you're paying money to be dumb? I don't even understand how the school admitted them. Like, from what I recall, when I went to college, you have to take tests. And it's just more or less just for the point of, like, basic placement. But I'm like, they had to have failed their test. Not had to, they definitely did. I don't know for certain, but, you know, based on how they struggle with basic math, they had to have failed. So, how did they even get admitted? How did the school be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You completely failed the aptitude test, but that's fine, we'll admit you. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess schools are businesses and students are their customers, so I guess they would admit them. You know, it's money. They see money. They don't see, wow, you're brain dead. You don't belong going here. They just see, yeah, payday. But I don't know. So I'm assuming that the math that they had must have been the lowest level that the school offered. And it's just kind of crazy that it was still too much for them to handle, though. But anyways. Yeah. And they were there every week. They had like a regularly scheduled appointment with me. I think they had me both days. I only work 2 days a week just because of how my schedule works. Not with the school. I'm talking about just general life, how my schedule works. And so it was just like, I'm pretty sure I had them both days that I worked, though. And it's like, man, I don't know how many weeks are in a semester, but let's say it's like 14. Now, is that too long? No, maybe not. So, you're looking at 28 appointments to do basic math. I don't know. I don't even know what the degree program could have been. The only thing I can think of is you were just going for, like, gen ed. Just because, like, you probably didn't want to get a job. So you're like, I know, I'll go to college. And my parents will be like, well, he's a student. And they'll let you, like, ride on them for a little bit longer. Live at home for free or something. Mom, I go to college. I can't pay you. But that's not even the worst student that I had or have, depending on how you want to look at it. The other student that's possibly even worse is this guy that I currently have this semester. He's there for SolidWorks help. And, I mean, he's an absolute lost cause. Now, to start, if you don't know what SolidWorks is a 3D computer-aided design software. Basically, SolidWorks and Inventor Professional are the top two brands. Others are coming up, like Pro-E and Creo, but they're more niche. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know, trying to relate it to like a browser. Like Google's the king, and then you got Yahoo kind of in second, and then there's Bing. So that's like what Creo and Pro-E are. Like, they're not bad, they're good. From what I understand, Pro-E is actually really good, but it's just not mainstream enough. It's like, if you at your company say you use Pro-E, chances are you also have SolidWorks, just so then you can have a software that your customer probably has. That way then you can make parts for them that they can open up, because the Pro-E ones are kind of like specific to Pro-E or something like that. I don't know. My first company that I started in the industry in, had Pro-E and SolidWorks, but Pro-E, like I said, was application specific. Like, the lead engineer used Pro-E to get a lot of his designs done, because he said Pro-E was a lot more intuitive than SolidWorks and had a lot more better built-in features for the type of work that we did. But then, like, he would use SolidWorks to export to the customer and all that, make the prints and everything. So, I don't know. But anyways, it's a weird tangent that I just went on. So, like I was saying, SolidWorks. I'm basically a pro at it. I've been using SolidWorks 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for the last, 13 years. If you want to count college, then that makes it like 14 years. So, I know what I'm doing. I say I'm basically a pro because there technically are certifications out there. There's 3 levels, and I don't have any of them. I want them. I would like to get certified, but I've never had a company that would actually pay for me to go get the certifications. And I just keep forgetting on my own to like look into it and see when I could book a a session or whatever. Because I think you got to go somewhere, and then you get tested there, and you got to pay, and it's like $400 for each tier, or at least it's $400, I think, on the low tier. I don't know if the tiers vary in cost. They could, who knows? Expert level might cost more. It's kind of stupid when you think about it, but at the same time, places want to make money. So anyways, even though I'm not really an expert, I basically am for all intents and purposes. I know if I took those tests, I'd easily crush them. I'd probably even be able to finish well within the allotted time that they give you and have extra time left over to leave early, I guess. So anyways, this guy I have, though, so I also had him last semester. So right now is the fall semester. So when I say last semester, it's not the summer. I can't work in the summer. The school closes early over the summer. So I'm talking the spring semester. I had him in the spring semester, and I had him for the same exact stuff he's doing now. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if he had to have failed the class, and now he's retaking it or something, because he has the exact same work. This semester, when he started with me, I saw it and I was like, didn't I work on this with you last semester? And then he said something, yeah, but blah, blah, I don't know. At first I thought he said, I'm just trying to refresh myself. But like, that's all we keep working on. So I'm like, you ain't refreshing yourself. I think you failed your class and you're retaking it. Because there's no way that the teacher in like, CAD 2 or whatever is giving you the same work that he gave you in CAD 1. That would kind of be pointless. But anyways, he's an absolute lost cause. I'm like, if you're taking CAD in school for whatever your degree program is, that means you're most likely going to be using it when you get in the real world. And this guy has no idea at all how to use the software. None. I mean, there's times where I get up to, I don't know, like I might be in the center by myself and somebody walks in, so I got to go handle them, talk to them, book appointments for them or whatever. And like I come back and he's still sitting there at the same status that we were at when I got up. And I'm thinking, seriously? You don't know what to do? You sat here just waiting for me to come back? I'm like, I don't know what he plans on doing, but he might need to consider a new career path, because if you can't get started making basic things, how are you ever going to come up with like a complicated design? That's going to be too much for you. I mean, to put it into context, he has a book. So his textbook has like all the examples and stuff in there. And the way to make them is laid out to an absolute T. There's pictures in there of what you should be seeing. There's step-by-step instructions. There's even little like side notes to give you hints and pointers. And he'll take like 15 minutes on one little step. Like, we're drilling like a counter bore into a part for a screw. Well, we're not drilling it because that's probably in like CAD 2, because that's actually a feature. So we're manually drawing in a counter bore, and it takes him like 15 minutes. He's got no idea how to put the lines, how to dimension them, and I'm like, geez, not only did you do this stuff last semester, like we're not really halfway, but we're relatively deep into this semester. You should be a pro by now. And you're still struggling this badly just to make a screw head counter bore? The other thing is, he doesn't listen, which also annoys me. I'm like, you came to tutoring because you need the help. You don't know how to do this on your own. And now I'm telling you, as basically a uncertified, certified expert, I'm telling you how to do this, the best way to do this, and he just ignores it. Perfect example actually happened today when I had him earlier. He's trying to make a rib on a part, and he's looking at it, and there's like a little straight section, and then there's a arc. I don't know what the point of the arc is, because the part ends up being extruded into the main part, and that arc goes away. I think they just made you do the arc just to practice. Hey, let's just slide an arc in here so they have a little experience messing around with arcs. But anyways, regardless, he points that out. Oh, I gotta add that on. And I'm like, well, we can add that in after. Let's first make these two lines fully defined. Put the dimensions on there and put the symmetric on there. That way then they're good, and then when you add your arc, it's a 2-second thing. And then he's looking, and then he sees like the extended lines of the dimension, because in the book they have the dimension way off. So it's 0.5 inches way off. So he sees those dimension lines. Oh, I got to draw more lines, right? I'm like, no, those lines aren't real. Those are just real long dimension lines. And then he goes back to that again. Yeah, but there's lines here. You see those? I got to draw. No, those aren't real lines. Your only real lines are right here. They're short. These lines are just real long extension lines for the dimension. This isn't anything you need to draw. They're just there. And he's like, okay, well, I got to add that arc in there, right? So I got to put that and connect it to these two endpoints in the lines, right? I'm like, yes, but not now. Let's just dimension the lines. Put the symmetric relation. Put your half-inch distance between them. When you do that, it'll make things a lot easier. I'm trying to explain it to him too. I'm like, if you don't do this, then what happens is you can put the arc in, but now nothing has any dimensions on it, which means when you add dimensions, stuff could start blowing up, and then it makes a big mess. Now your little arc turns into a weird circle that's hanging off on the side. Now you gotta work even harder to fix that, or delete it and re-put it back in. It just becomes more of a hassle. So I'm like, trust me, just dimension these lines here, make them black, and then carry on worrying about that arc. Now when I say make them black, it's because in SolidWorks, how it works is when a sketch is fully defined, which means you can't manipulate it without actually changing a dimension or a relation or something, the sketch will be all black. If there's anything hanging, which means it can move, then it's still blue. So good rule of thumb when you're designing is to have everything all black. That way then it's perfect and no one can accidentally mess something up. So anyways, yeah, I'm like, just make those black, and then we'll worry about the arc. So now he's looking at the book, studying the book, confused. And then he's bringing up these radii that are put in. that are connecting from like a larger outside circle to the 2 extension lines for this feature. And he's like, well, what about these? And I'm like, that'll be after. Don't worry about that. That's the last thing we're going to do. For now, just dimension. I keep telling him, I'm trying to get this in his head. Dimension those 2 lines. Put the half-inch dimension. Make them symmetric. Make them black. Then he's like, well, I got to add this arc in. And I'm just like, whatever. This is ridiculous. You're not even listening to me. So I'm like, yep, okay. So let's do that. And then he puts it in. And then he's like, okay. And then he finally decides to dimension the thing. Well, guess what happens? Like I told him, it blew up. The arc ended up all, not too bad, but it was a little bit goofy, and then it got him all a little bit nervous too, like, oh God, what happened? And he's like, should I Control Z? And I'm like, nope, it's fine, we can fix it. I'm like, this is what I was trying to tell you though, why you should have done those lines first, because we would have avoided this. This isn't that big a deal, we can easily fix it, but still, now you have this issue that you got to contend with. And it's like, see, case in point. I don't know why you don't listen to me. I said don't worry about the dumb arc. We'll get to it after. Nope. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't use the software all day, every day for the last 13 years. Yeah, do it how you want. I have no idea about design intent and all this. I'm just an idiot. You're actually tutoring me. Like, the other thing, too, is I'm pretty sure he doesn't do his homework. He waits until he's with me. And I don't know if that's because he just doesn't have the time, or he's just kind of lazy and like, man, I don't need to do the homework, or it's because he has no idea what he's doing, so he needs me sitting there with him to coach him along. Which again circles back to what I was saying before. I'm like, how are you going to get a job in this industry? You know, if you're in engineering or something, how are you going to get a job if you have no idea how to use SolidWorks? You can't get started, you can't do anything. Like, how do you think you're going to do this? I mean, he uses the book, like I said, and he studies the F out of it. Every little thing he does, he exactly copies that book. Like, it was stupid, because back to that part I'm talking about now, the radii. When you put the radii in those corners on like this big outer circle, and then those 2 legs, the extension legs, in the book it shows that dimension. It's a radius of 1/4 inch. It shows it out, and it's kind of like, I don't know. For me, it's not how I would make a print. It's ugly. But I guess for like a training manual, it's probably fine because it helps show the numbers. So that way then somebody who's learning doesn't have to like, oh, I don't know what I'm looking for. No, it's right there. You know? But anyways, so it's like outside of the part, and it's, I don't know, kind of ugly and clunky. It also has like an extension line that's almost hitting the main part and stuff. And what does he do? Copies that, makes it exactly like it is in the book. And I'm like, bro, seriously, you're ridiculous. It was perfectly fine how it was before. You don't need it to copy the book. You have the 1/4 inch radius there. It doesn't matter where the dimension is. It doesn't have to be in the same spot as the book. But yeah, or he'll go and do a basic function, like a feature, a revolve or something. Again, perfect example today was this part that he's working on is a revolved part. And so he goes into the feature, says revolve. Now it's all right there. He says revolve, and SolidWorks automatically knew what he wanted. It knew what the center line was. It knew what the part was. It was ready to go. All he had to do is revolve. Oh yeah, looks good. Check mark. Done. Nope. He's double checking everything against the book. I mean, the preview model in SolidWorks shows like the dimensions from your sketch. And he's even verifying that the dimensions from the sketch in the book match the dimensions in the sketch on the model on the screen. Like, he's verifying, A, that the numbers actually match, which, duh, they do. We just sketched it. Obviously, they match. But B, he's making sure that they're there. Yep, that one's there, that one's there. It's like, those don't matter. They're just there for reference. Like, you don't... all you need to be worried about is that the shape that you're trying to revolve revolves. And the preview is showing you that there is no problems. It's highly successful. Just click the green check. Ugh. You know, and like, he just takes forever to do anything. And it gets very stressful. Like, the part he's working on now, I wouldn't call it complicated because it's not complicated, but for him, it's excruciatingly complicated. And it's like stressful for me because I'm like, I'm the one that has to deal with this and help him through it. You know, like, there's going to be a circular pattern coming up, which circular patterns are nice and easy, But I know he's not going to be able to figure it out. He's going to struggle just to put the center line in. You know, make an axis on the part so then you have something to revolve for your circular pattern. I'm going to have to explain that to him for 15 minutes how to make an axis. And it's just like, oh my God, such a basic function. And you can't even figure that out. And then what else? I don't know. He doesn't know how to do anything. And I'm like, this is not a good career path for you. Like, you are not going to make it in this industry if you can't even, you know what I mean? Like, I think about it like me. Say I go to work and I need to make a design and I have no idea how to use the software. I'm not going to be successful at my job and my company's not going to be happy with me. They're going to get rid of me. Like, jeez. You know, I get it if he's not like super fast and stuff. Sure, you're still learning, so you're not fully aware of where all the features are and everything, but he's beyond rookie. I mean, this is almost like it's his first day doing this, and he's like an 85-year-old guy who's not even experienced with computers. You know what I mean? Just like, what are you making me do? This is too fancy. And then even though I'm hating and I find it annoying and stressful all the time, I think about me. I'm like, well, hold on. How was I like when I was new? Like, I know I struggled a little, but I was like, I wasn't this bad. First off, I'm pretty sure my book wasn't as detailed as his book is. Like, they gave you general things to make and there was dimensions and you had to figure it out. There wasn't no step-by-step and all this. You had to figure out, what do I need to do to make this shape like it shows in the book? Basically almost like reverse engineering from a print, you know? So right out the gate, that already puts me at way more advanced of a level than him, because I could figure that stuff out without a step-by-step book like he has. Second, I'm like, I never got tutored. I didn't need any tutoring. I was able to do all my work and stuff by myself. So I'm like, there's that. Third is, I didn't have a computer at home or anything, so what I used to do is I'd work in the morning, like 4:30 to 1, then I'd go home, shower, and go to school. My school was about an hour away, so I'd get to school probably like, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock. My classes were at 5:45 p.m., so from 3 until 5:45, I'd do my homework. So I'd be at the school, crunching out my SolidWorks homework at the last minute, getting it done, though, and for the most part, getting it done right. So I'm like, nah, I wasn't this terrible when I was using SolidWorks. Like I said, I might have not been that fast, but I definitely knew how to get started. I knew how to look at a print and figure out how to reverse engineer it. Okay, well, it starts with a box. Let me make a box with these dimensions. Okay, there's a hole in the middle. Let me put a circle, make that a cut extrude. All right, now I get a chamfer these outside edges to match that. Now there's a big slant here, so let me just make a triangle and extrude cut that. Like, you know, I can figure it out. Him, if he was given just a print and said, okay, draw this up, he'd have no idea how to get started. I don't know what to do. How do I do this? Because he can't even follow a step-by-step that tells you every single, literally every single detail. Nothing is missing. Nothing. Like, sometimes I feel like me trying to tutor him is pointless because I'm like, all I'm telling you is exactly everything that the book is telling you. This is kind of stupid. I'm like inadvertently reiterating the book, you know, because I'm not like reading his book or anything, so I'm not actually saying what his book says, but in the grand scheme of things, I am saying what his book says, because his book is obviously correct. But yeah, it's just very stressful tutoring this guy, and I don't know what he expects to get out of this. Like, he has no idea. Like, he'll finally, after half an hour, get a feature done in the book, and then he's like pumped about it. He's like, oh yes, I got it. And it's like, bro, on one hand, that's good for you that you feel like proud of yourself, but on the other hand, you struggled to do it. It would have taken me 2.5 minutes to do this. It took you 30 minutes to do this, and you find this to be a victory, and you had a book, and you had a tutor. Again, if you were at a job site and it took you half an hour just to make a ridiculously basic feature, you'd be fired. And you don't have a book, and you don't have a tutor then either. You'd have to know how to do this. Like, geez, guy. I don't know. And he's a little bit stressful too, because so the center that I work in at the school I think closes at 10, but the center that I work in closes at 8. And so I want to get closing. One, and we're supposed to close. it's 8 o'clock. I got to get going. Second, I also have a big ride ahead of me. I live about 45 minutes away from where this school is that I work at. And yeah, so when we get out at 8, I get home at like 8:45 as it is. That sucks. So when he goes and talks to me about some nonsense forever, that just pushes it back and makes my feelings with dealing with him even more stressful. Not only is he stressful because he sucks at SolidWorks, but he's stressful because he wants to waste my time talking about some dumb nonsense. And it's like, oh my God, guy, come on. It's like today I was able to, relatively speaking, sneak out. Today's a Wednesday. I was able to sneak out kind of on time. I think I still left at like 8:10, but compared to how all these days have been going, that's a lot better. But like the other night, Monday, he was talking to me about like DCF and stuff, telling me about how a neighbor I don't know if it's a neighbor or a family member or what the heck the situation is, but he says, oh, she's got 2 kids. One of them's in high school. One of them's like in elementary. She doesn't have them go to school. I know she also smokes a lot of weed with her boyfriend or her regular friends or something. I don't know. He's like, who can I call about that? And I said, you could try DCF. And yeah, so now we're talking about DCF. And the thing too is his stories are boring. He says the same thing over and over again. You know how many times I heard, oh, she's got 2 kids, one's in high school and one's in elementary school, and she doesn't have them go to school. Like, I heard it like every 10 seconds. It was like, yes, I got it. She has 2 kids. One's in high school, one's in elementary school. I don't know these kids. I don't know her. I don't know who you're talking about. I barely know you. You're just my tutor or my 2D. I mean, I don't even know your actual name. And I say this because this guy is an immigrant from Peru. I guess he's been in the country for like 3 years now. And I say I don't know his name because when you sign him up for tutoring sessions in the system, his name is one thing. But then when he talks to me, he tells me his name's another thing. So I'm thinking, what the F is your name? Now, I don't know if the name that he tells me is maybe like the translation of the name that he gave the school. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it is the same name, just... one's the English version and one's the Peruvian version. But I don't know. But anyways, yeah, just keeps telling me about this lady. Keeps telling me, same thing, over and over and over. And it's like, all right, bro, I got it. I don't care anymore. Like, I want to get going. It's 8:20. I got 45-minute ride ahead of me. Now I'm looking at 9:05 is when I'll be home. So thanks a lot for that. He's just a very stressful. I hate having him, especially at this time. I feel like it would be better. Well, when I say this time, I mean like in the last slot. He's booked 7 to 8. I'm like, I'd rather have him. If I'm going to have him, I'd rather have him like 6 to 7 or something. That way then there's time. That way then, maybe there's another student that could be booked for 7. That way then I can just easily get away from him and not hear him talking. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I got to go help this guy. Or B, even if he did waste time and talked too much and stuff, at least it's like, well, I still have an hour. So if I have no students, yeah, maybe I want to go dick around on my phone or something, but technically I still have an hour. So that gives him an hour to tell me his boring story and then get out of there. So that way then I can still get out of there on time. I don't know. That's the other thing too. I almost forgot this. This one guy's always late as well to the tutoring. One time, he showed up half an hour late. I literally laughed in his face when he opened the door. Like, a lot of people say that. Oh, lol all the time. Oh, lol. But they're not even laughing. They're just typing lol. Or they'll say something, oh, I did this. And it's like, no, you didn't. But I actually did. He opened the door, and I just giggled a little. I was like, like that. And then he was kind of looking at me awkwardly like, what's so funny? And then after, it made me giggle more thinking about his confusion, but then I was still thinking about how late he was. So I'm like, now we're both confused. I'm giggling because of how late you are. You're confused as to why I'm giggling, which is making me giggle more. But at the same time, I'm giggling because you're late. Like, it was becoming a weird meta situation. But yeah, it was just like, what's the point? You're supposed to have a full hour with me. You take half an hour to do one feature in SolidWorks. So you show up half an hour late? Okay, so what one feature do you want to work on for half an hour? I mean, it gets to the point where I literally think about asking him, can I just do this for you? But I don't, because I'm like, I know he's supposed to do it so he can learn. If I do it, he's not going to learn anything. But I'm like, geez, I'd get this thing done in no time. Literally, it would take me 3 minutes to do on my own versus a full hour and still not complete with him. But yeah, so that was the worst when he showed up half an hour late. But otherwise, normally he shows up late, but he's like, I don't know, 10 minutes late. Second worst, I think, was 20 minutes late. Like, I thought he wasn't coming. I was like, oh, sweet, I got the night off, basically. I'm still at the school, but, no students. And then he comes in, and I'm like, oh, it's so close. I think I was starting to, like, tuck in the chairs and all that, do, like, the pre-closing stuff I'm supposed to do. And then, boop, there he comes in, and I'm like, oh, man, so close. Ugh. But anyways, my point with him coming in late is it's like, I don't know why he does this. First off, you don't have to pay for the service. It's free if you're a student. So, I mean, there's that. But, like, if you book an hour, wouldn't you want to try to get advantage of that full hour? That way then you're getting a full hour of assistance. Not showing up 15 minutes late and only getting 45 minutes. Not showing up half an hour late and only getting half an hour. Wouldn't you want that full hour? That way then it's more work you can get done. It's more training that you can receive. Or whatever, And then the second thing is why I don't understand why he's late is because a lot of times I will see him walk by, like at 6:30. He'll walk by. I don't know where he's going. He can't have a class. There's no way. That would be such a short class. But he walks by and then he'll show up late, like 7:15 or something. And I'm like, what were you doing? Like, I saw you at 6:30. You should have just came in at 6:30 then. And then you could have left at 7:30. Like, what did you go do? And now you're late. This doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I don't know. He's not going to get anywhere. If he stays on this path that he's on, which is having absolutely no idea what he's doing, it's pointless for him. Why is he going to school? Why is he paying for this class? Why is he retaking the class to just basically fail it again? He told me he's got his first test on Tuesday, and I'm like, I try to be positive. I'm like, well, good luck to you. I hope you do well. But I know he's going to fail. I mean, I guess it's two parts. He says there's a written part where it's like, questions and you got to know, like maybe, the feature in SolidWorks where you can, pattern a feature around a part is called what? And then that's circular pattern or whatever, So there's that part, and then there's also the actual use of the tool part. And I'm like, okay, maybe the written part you might be able to pass, but the SolidWorks part, he's absolutely going to fail. He's going to have no idea how to do any of this. Like, he's going to see the work and, I don't know what to do. He doesn't listen to a book that tells him what to do. He doesn't listen to me to tell him what to do, so he doesn't know what to do, which means he's not going to figure this out on his own when it comes time to take a test. So, yeah. And if these are, I don't know how the teacher's weighting it, but I would imagine that the actual SolidWorks part, if it is weighted, like not 50-50, like, 50% the SolidWorks part, 50% the written part, if it's not that, I would assume that there's a heavier weight on the SolidWorks part, which means in any situation, he's going to fail. He's going to have a 0 for 50% or more of his test grade, and then maybe a 100 for 50% or less of his grade. But overall, 50 plus 0 is 50. Divided by 2 makes 25. No, but when it's weighted, if you have a 50 as 50% of your grade and a 0 as the other 50, well, you only have a 50. So, but yeah, so I just don't get these students that struggle. Like, there's some that make sense. Like I said, that one that came in, did I say it? Actually, oh, no, I didn't even say this yet. I got hung up on this guy. It's because he stresses me out so much. Jeez, I made another one, too, talking about him, how he just talks forever. That stresses me out. Now there's this. So that's the other thing, I forgot. Sometimes people come in, but at least they come in with something valid, you know what I mean? Like, there's one class, I think it's like, I don't know, a fake class made up by the school or something. It's called quantitative reasoning. It's not hard, but it's a weird situation how to explain it. Basically, my best way I can think of explaining it is you have information A and information C, but you don't have information B, and you need information B to be able to solve it. And then once you get information B, then it's simple. But until then, you're like, what? So to put that into like a more fitting example, let's say you had a problem that said 1 blank, 1 equals question mark. So the real question is to solve the question mark. What's the answer? But you don't know what the blank is. Is it a plus? Is it a minus? Is it a divide? Is it a multiply? I don't know what that's supposed to be. And then once you figure it out, oh, the middle thing was supposed to be a plus? Okay, so the question mark is 2. Then it's simple. So that's quantitative reasoning. It's kind of weird. I've had a few students that have come to see me about it, and I'm like, yeah, this is reasonable that you're looking for some assistance because it is weird. It's also kind of niche. Like I said, I've never had quantitative reasoning before. I have a bachelor's in math, and prior to me working at this school, I never even heard of quantitative reasoning. So I'm like, it's clearly not like a core math class, because if I've never taken it and I have a dang bachelor's, like, you'd think that would be part of my curriculum, and it wasn't. And I never had it in any of my other colleges. I have 3 degrees. Never had it in any of my other colleges. So I don't know what it is, but it's just like some weird made-up thing for the school that I work at. But anyways, yeah, so if someone comes in with that, okay, it's not even a real math. Like, I've tried to look for help online even, and because it's so fake and niche, you can't even find anything online. It's like you gotta kind of just power through it and hope for the best. That's the only way to do this work. If the book isn't clear enough for you, you gotta just try to power through it. So I get that. Or like there was one guy the other day, on Monday, he was in there, he was scheduled with me, and he had some kind of weird niche class as well. It was like calculus for business something. It was a weird business niche class. But he had majority of the problems done. He only had like 1 or 2 that he was hung up on. It's like, okay, yeah, so for the most part, you get this. You know, you're not a totally lost cause. You got all the rest. These 2, you're just confused on, so you're looking for a little assistance, a little guidance from a tutor to help point you in the right direction. So it's like, okay, that's reasonable. But these other people that I talked about that have no idea, it's just like, man, what are you doing? Drop out. The school isn't for you. A job that requires an education isn't for you. Maybe you're not as smart as you think or wish you were. I mean, not to be mean, but come on. If you go to a company, if you get a degree and you go to a company, they're going to expect that you know what you're doing. Not, oh, I got the degree and I barely can figure it out, but because I passed with all C's, I get the degree. Like, no. That's not what employers are looking for. They're looking for somebody that they can hire, and that person they hire can actually get the job done. So, yeah. Not to tie it into politics, but it's kind of funny because it's like the Democrats. They always think that they're so smart because a lot of them they're educated. They have degrees. And it's like, okay, but your degree potentially means nothing. If you majored in some nonsense, who cares if you have a degree? You know what I mean? Like, if you're one of these libs that majors in, like, gender studies and you get a PhD in gender studies, it's like, all right, cool. You gave yourself a doctorate that you made up. Like, that's not even a real doctorate. You can't do anything with that. You're never going to find a job with gender studies. Oh, I'm a doctor of gender studies. Okay. Cool. Well, you must be smart because you got a real worthless degree. Or if you don't ever really use it, then it means nothing. Like, I know somebody who went to school or was starting to go to school for nursing, and they got a whole bunch of, like, the prereqs done. You know what I mean? They got, like, the phlebotomy certificate. They got I don't know what it is. CNA? Is that, like, the thing before an RN? Yeah, I think so. So I think they got up to the status of being like a CNA even. All the required certificates. They even got a degree and stuff and associates. And then they did absolutely nothing with it. They never applied to a hospital, never worked in a hospital, never furthered their education to fully get the RN degree or whatever it is. And yet, my point I'm trying to get at is sometimes they'll try to pull that out like it means something. Like, say, I don't know, say you're arguing about something with them and they're totally wrong, but then they'll be like, okay, I know that, I don't know. I can't think of a good example, but it happened recently. Like, they take it out and try to throw it out there like, I'm not dumb, I have this. And it's like, okay, you might have it, but you've done absolutely nothing with it. You mean to tell me that you remember everything that you learned? No, you don't. You don't remember a single thing. It's been 12 years since you got that and did nothing with it. You don't remember any of that. That was a waste of your money and time to earn that. You don't remember any of that. If you tried to apply to a hospital now, no one would hire you because they'd know that you don't know what you're doing. You have no experience. So again, some dumb Democrat lib might have a degree, but if they've never done anything with it, it doesn't mean anything. Cool, you got a degree. What did you do with it? Nothing? Cool. When did you get it? 10 years ago? Wonderful. So that means nothing. You wasted all your effort and money and time to get something to just put it on a wall and be like, look what I have. I'm smart. But yeah, so anyways, this just ties into these people because, see, they might end up graduating. And it's just going to be kind of ironic, like, wow, you graduated and yet you're brain dead. You can't even figure out the most basic of mathematic concepts. Or, hey, you graduated and you're going to try to go become a design engineer and yet you don't even know how to get started with SolidWorks. So you know how to open it and that's about it. Oh, and you know how to open a file you were working on and then that's about it. Then from there, you're completely lost and have no idea what to do. If somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, can you reverse engineer this? You'd have no idea how to do so. Like, I don't know. Some people just gotta be a little more real with themselves and just understand, hey, I wish I was smart, but I'm not smart, but I'm good at this. Hey, I'm good at being a car mechanic. I'm good at, I don't know, running packages around. Hey, I'm good at filling orders. Hey, I'm good at this. I'm good at that. Not everybody was born to be a brain. Some people are born to be laborers, and maybe that's you. Anyways, I guess that's all I got. I've been sitting in my driveway now for a few minutes, so I'd like to get out and go into my place instead of just sitting in my car. So yeah, that's all I got for now. So thanks for listening to me. If you actually got this far, that's really awesome. And until next time, I said see ya.